What's up, everyone? This is SkyTech Freak, and today for you guys, I have the unboxing of my Samsung Galaxy S21. This is the Phantom Silver or Phantom White version of the phone, and I have it in the 256 GB variant. This is, of course, an Indian variant of the phone, so it's gonna have the Exynos 2100, not the Snapdragon 888, which we know that the Snapdragon is still better this generation, but the Exynos is like caught up significantly. It just has higher core temperatures and it throttles and doesn't sustain performance as well. But battery life, which was my issue with some of the earlier Exynos Samsung Galaxies, is supposed to be very comparable. So the battery life of this device, I'm hoping actually keeps up because I have small hands. I like to have smaller devices, but most of the time, Samsung was the only one making flagships at smaller screen sizes. But then, because of the crappy Exynos processor in India, I just not have a phone that lasted the entire day. The last phone that I had that I got was a small phone with an Exynos processor, was the S10e, and that thing would just die out within like 1 or 2 hours of screen on time. It was really not something that I could sustain. But anyway, let's take a look around the box. And what's quite interesting is that this has to be the smallest smartphone box I've ever seen. In fact, today in the mail, my Raspberry Pi also came in, and honestly, in the shipping containers that both of them came in and the shipping boxes that they came in, I couldn't tell which one was which because this is probably the size of two Raspberry Pi boxes, and this thing is tiny. As you know, this is supposed to be like the smallest fully functional computer, as we know that the Raspberry Pi is infamous for being. But yeah, let's take a quick look around the box, and as you'll see that nowhere on the box is there any mention of the color or the storage variant or whether it's Exynos or not. So you have just S21 black, matte black packaging around this box. You can see there's a Samsung glow on the left, nothing on top, Galaxy here, and then on this side we have all the IMEI information. Another thing that they didn't do is put in specifications. A lot of the boxes like to show off the specifications of the phone. This doesn't have that. So I think it's just like a smart move on their end. They can mass produce these boxes. They don't have to worry about like different color boxes for different variants. So probably just an easy move for them to do, which is why they have that. They do at least have the serial number of your specific model, so I think that is supposed to denote at least the storage and the processor, whether it's Snapdragon or Exynos, and it might even be color. But yeah, quickly, I mean, I've already gone over the seals with this knife. As you can see, two easy slits usually does the trick, so I just made them before we started in, but I haven't really gotten into the box. I just took a quick look at the color of the device, so let's do that together now. So taking this off, we now have the Samsung Galaxy S21, and I'll just hide the back because that's what all the IMEI information is. There's this warning out here that says, or it's not a warning actually, it's just telling you that this plastic is only packaging, nothing else. As you can see, this is the white variant with the plastic on. I'll peel the plastic out together. We can just take a look at the device in an overview. Till then, let's just look at what else is in the box, and of course we already know what's not going to be in the box, which is a power supply. The phone actually supports 25-watt charging, fast charging, but there is no power brick at all, and so you need to either spend on a Samsung power brick or buy a third-party power brick that supports power delivery of 25 watts. Here we can see that there's the SIM ejection tool, and then inside we probably just have documentation and a USB cable, like I said, quick start guide, warranty card, and then we have that USB. It's a USB-C to USB-C cable, so I assume that the Samsung charger that supports 25 watts would also be take USB-C instead of a normal USB. So let's just put all that away and get back into the device. Let's look at that peel we wanted to do from the start. So let's just quickly go over that. Oh, and I expected the IMEI stickers to actually be on top of that plastic film, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Here is the second peel, and both of those felt really, really good. Now, immediately I've actually felt this phone before, and I was really worried about this plastic back. Oh, we have actually got one last film over the cameras, and let me just get that on camera. As you can see, we've gotten that out too. Let's move it to the side. And like I said, the feel of this device is really, it doesn't feel cheap at all. When I heard that there's going to be a plastic back, I thought there could be like, how earlier phones with removable batteries had like a creaking when you pressed against the plastic. Now when you tap against it with your nails, you can obviously tell there's a very plasticky sound, but otherwise it feels like really premium matte coating. I've also seen the other two S21s, the S21 Plus and the S21 Ultra, and they of course feel a little bit distinct, but I feel like the texture feels the same. It's just the weight and sort of the quality of the back, which I don't think that this is a bad quality or a cheap quality material at all. I just think that you can tell very easily that it's plastic and it's not actually the more premium material as you might imagine. So let's quickly turn on the device, and while it's coming on, I can give you a quick overview of that device. As you can see, since I have the white and silver version, this part is white, and then around the rim we have a silver aluminum sort of look. I've seen iPhones that had a black and silver and even a white and silver look, and some people thought that looked cheap and sort of glowy, but I think it looks good. I don't think a lot of the silver sort of spills over to the front display, which is a good thing. Of course, if you got the black one, it would look even better because nothing would be the black would just blend into the darker black of the bezel. So that way the front might look more premium on the dark or black version. Quickly going over some of the important specs of the phone, of course. Like I mentioned, this is the 256GB variant with 8GB of RAM. There is also a 128GB variant, again still with 8GB of RAM in the Exynos 2100 model. The Snapdragon 888 model doesn't come with 256GB of storage in white, but of course there is a Snapdragon 888 variant with both 128 and 256GB of storage, both of them having the 8GB of RAM. So that's one of the main specifications. The battery life or the battery capacity is 4000 milliamp hours. Again, Snapdragon 888 and Exynos 2100 have shown similar performance. The Exynos actually showing a little better performance in terms of battery life. But of course, we know because of that processor and of course bundled with a much worse GPU than the Snapdragon, the Exynos performs far worse in like graphics benchmarks. And single core, it might be a little better than the Snapdragon, but in multi-core and graphics performance, the Snapdragon 888 is still like obliterating it. It's the closest the Exynos and Snapdragon have been in a really long time. But still, I think AMD's partnership with Samsung really needs to be next level for these guys to catch up with their Exynos chips to the stuff that Snapdragon at Qualcomm is doing with Snapdragon. So like I said, 4000 milliamp hour battery, 8GB of RAM. This is a 6.2-inch display. It's a 1080p display, which is the first time since I think the S6 or the S7 that they've dropped the resolution this far down. But people were prioritizing a faster refresh rate like they did in the S20, which you could only have at 1080p anyway. So like most people were using the S20 at 1080p resolution with 120 Hz smooth refresh rate. So now what they've done is just remove the option to have QHD 1440p, and now you can have smooth display at 1080p only. And given that they've dropped the prices this year, they've slashed the prices of the entire line, I think that's a good thing to sort of get rid of, because no one was using it. Everyone preferred that high refresh rate. Of course, you could always want both the high refresh rate and the high resolution, but then you have to pay extra and go for something like the S21 Ultra. And like I said, I like these smaller phones, and I think 1080p at this 6.2-inch screen, especially Samsung's panels, which we know to be so bright and vibrant and colorful, I think that's already way more than necessary, or that's going to be too perceivable by the eye. Lastly, let's just look at the cameras. So the cameras, of course, we have the main 64 megapixel shooter, and then we have a 12 megapixel telephoto lens and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. The ultra wide, again, like I said, being wider than the S21 Ultra's ultra wide, which is a bit of a tongue twister to say and sounds a bit ironic. But of course, coupled with that, the camera system also has that wild 30x hybrid zoom, which we can test in like the initial first impressions of the device once I have it all set up. Otherwise, I guess we can just quickly go over the left side of the screen of the device is completely bland or plain with nothing on it. Bottom here we have the SIM card tray and the mic, and I think I saw somewhere online that people were like, oh, if you if you use the SIM card tool in the mic by mistake, you might damage it. So I guess just be careful not to do that. Though the one that's in the tray is obviously the one that opens the tray, I guess. But I have seen ones that are next to the tray that open the tray. So I guess you just have to keep that in mind. We have a bottom firing speaker. On the right side, we have the power button, which is now finally not placed ludicrously high like it was in the S10e and the S10 lineup. I think the S20 had already fixed it, but I didn't own an S20 device, so I can't really say. Up here, we have the volume rocker, good clicky buttons, and then on top, of course, we have two more mics, noise cancelling, and probably one for input. And then up here, we have the speaker grill that works in stereo with this bottom firing speaker as well. And then here, of course, we have the selfie camera, that camera being 10 megapixels, and of course also having 4K video recording, just like the back cameras have 4K recording. And yeah, so these are the main specifications of the phone. I'm going to do a quick first impressions in my next video once I have it set up and I've used it for, I think, a few days. And then of course coming after that will be a full review with like extensive battery performance and performance in daily tasks and things like that, how it's handling applications with the RAM that it's been given that it's dropped, I think, from 12 to 8. The S20 had a 12 GB RAM variant, this one doesn't. So yeah, and another big drop that they've done, of course, is the micro SD card. You do not have expandable storage on this, so that's why I chose to go for the 256 GB variant. That's another drop, along with the resolution and I guess even the power brick, which they made so much fun for Apple to do when Apple cited environment reasons, but now Samsung's on the same thing. But I guess, again, like I said, they've dropped the price of the line, which is not something Apple has done. And so I guess wherever you can sort of save or cut costs, go ahead and do it, Samsung, because cheaper phones is something no one's ever going to complain about. And yeah, I think that's all for now. If you like the unboxing of this phone, let me know. Tell me which color you think looks the best for the S21. I think this white really does justice to the design and this sort of contoured dual tone look. I think the black is also another really good look. The purple and pink are a little loud for me, but of course it's completely up to you and what your style is. So yeah, let me know which S21 you like. Let me know what you think of this unboxing. If there's anything you'd like me to specifically cover in either the initial impressions or the long-term review, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe if you liked it. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.